prosperity, good health, wealth, and the destruction of the intellect's enemy. Thank you all.
Our colleagues, Varsha, Kavita, and Poonam will welcome our distinguished guests with a small token of our respect, please. To our chief guest, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Dr. Renu Swaroop. Dr. Chris Scarp. Dr. Ted Bianco. And Dr. Aslam. Thank you all so much. With this, may we request Dr. Muhammad Aslam, Advisor, Department of Biotechnology, and Managing Director, Birac, to kindly welcome the gathering.
Very good afternoon to all of you. It is our pleasure to heartily welcome you all in the 7th Foundation Day of Birac. We are very happy to have with us today Honorable Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Sir, we are really grateful to you for your gracious presence in spite of your very busy schedule. We are grateful to our Chairperson Birac and Secretary DBT, Dr. Renu Swaroop, for her esteemed presence today on this occasion as a source of inspiration. Today we have with us Dr. Ted Bianco, former Director, Wellcome Trust UK, and we are very grateful to him for accepting our invitation for delivering Foundation Day lecture. Our warm welcome to our old friend Ted. We welcome Dr. Chris Karp, Director, Discovery and Translational Sciences, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We welcome all dignitaries, directors, entrepreneurs, innovators, partners, mentors of Birac and galaxy of scientists present today. The Department of Biotechnology has set up this Biotechnology Industry Research Assistant Council, Birac, in 2012 with a view to promote and nurture innovation and entrepreneurship. In fact, I will glance you all through this transparency reflected here. What has been the impact of Birac has been great. So far, 41 bio-incubators have been established in the country, creating 4.50 lakh square feet of incubation space. A total amount of 1,915 crores funding has gone into this, shared by Birac, that is 978 crores, along with industry partners, that is 937 crores. And there have been 813 beneficiaries so far. More than 1,000 startups, entrepreneurs, small and medium enterprises have been supported by Birac so far during the last 7 years. About 130 products and technologies have been developed, 179 patents have been filed, more than 10,000 people enhanced skill and assessed networks. Along with those 41 bioincubators, 4 regional and entrepreneurship development centers have also been established in the country. And along with this, 146 academic institutions have been supported. These bioincubators are providing access to high-end infrastructure, mentorship for startups in health, medical technology, diagnostic, industrial biotechnology, agriculture areas, among others. This Foundation Day has brought together nearly more than 2,200 participants that include innovators and startups, scientists from industry and academia, public and private sectors, policymakers, and national and international organizations. Our theme today is Nurturing Innovations, Empowering India. By nurturing innovations, we are paving the way to empower both our entrepreneurs and the people in most need in our society. We are proud to announce today the winners of Soch Awards and the TIE Winner Awards, 2 very exciting awards that Birac has been working on for the last 1 year. We are also launching several new products today, and along with this, we are signing the technology transfer agreements also today, and we are very happy to share all these moments with our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us have gathered today to celebrate 7th Foundation Day of Birac with the agenda to fulfill the ambition of India being a true bioeconomy by focusing on biotech innovations. Thank you all.
A very good evening to all of you, and as always, it's such a pleasure and welcome to all we hear is something that we really enjoy doing, because this is Birac's Foundation Day, but it's not Birac's Foundation Day just for the Birac people here. It's for the entire community, the entire group, all the partners and all the stakeholders who are here. So it's congratulations to each one of us for this birthday of Birac. We are very, very fortunate and pleased that we have the Honorable Vice Chairman of the Niti Aayog with us today. Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar. And I can actually share it with you that he took less than a second to say that yes, he would come for it when I extended this invitation to him. I can understand how pressing his time is, how much the engagements are, but he didn't even want to look at the calendar and he gave me the confirmation. That clearly goes to show the commitment and the passion that he has to drive innovation and how much he is a supporter of this whole ecosystem as we've taken it where we are today. This whole ecosystem, as it's grown over these last many years, and I think we can all be very proud of this, and I see that in the theme that we've put in for this 7th Foundation Day, how apt it is, nurturing innovations, empowering India. I think over these last couple of years, all of us collectively have worked towards achieving this mission of how do we empower India by nurturing innovations, which is so important for us. And let me say that each one of us, not just the organizations, but each innovator, each agency, each organization which has worked toward this has actually contributed and is contributing into this journey. When this whole Startup India action plan was announced by our Prime Minister in 2016, we had put forth certain targets for ourselves and said, this is what we would be able to achieve. We were conscious of the fact that there is going to be these enabling policies which would help us to take it forward. It's very, very heartening to note that today we have more or less achieved all the targets that we had put in for 2020. And I think this is because of the commitment that has come from each person who is sitting in this room. The potential which biotechnology holds is enormous. And to a group such as this, I don't need to speak about the potential of biotechnology or the opportunities which it offers us. But I think what is important for us to reflect upon is that how are we now trying to look at those very gaps in that ecosystem and see how do we bring in components that plug those gaps so that we have a complete value chain as it moves on. Dr. Aslam has, in his slide, given us statistics of where we stand today, 7 years from when Birac was started. Birac itself was a startup experiment, and I keep saying that. And in fact, I have been actually on a lighter vein mentioning this to Secretary DIPP, that you extended the age of the startups to 10 years for the biotech sector. So you gave Birac also another 3 years to move out of the startup zone. Otherwise, at 5 years, we would have been out of the startup zone. So we have 3 years more before you will no longer be a startup. But I think it's important to understand, and I think this is a wonderful example of what startups can do in our country. Startups can actually revolutionize the entire economy for us, and we are seeing this happening within the biotech sector. All the startups, all the innovators who have been supported. The whole mandate of Birac was to nurture the innovation ecosystem. And if I recall correctly, I don't have it with me written here, but somebody will correct me from Birac. I think the first Birac Foundation Day, since I had the good fortune of being associated with it since then, the tagline for it was empowering and enabling a biotech ecosystem. So we talk about empowering a biotech ecosystem, and today in the 7th Foundation Day, you're talking about how we are empowering the whole country through nurturing these innovations. So I think that's where we've moved. And probably the person who will remember it with me is also Ted, because we were very, very fortunate to have Dr. Ted Bianco in that time in his capacity as the Director Wellcome Trust to be with us for the first Foundation Day. So we're very pleased, Ted, to have you here to give the 7th Foundation Day lecture. Thank you very much for being with us. Birac's whole strength, and this is not just Birac's strength, I think this is the strength of biotechnology, this is the strength of the startup ecosystem, is in leveraging partnerships, forging collaborations. And I think that really is the strength with which we've moved forward. Today in this room, we are so pleased to have with us all our partners, both national and international. We have with us Dr. Chris Karp, and I think the Gates Foundation has been a wonderful partner to be with, and we've enjoyed this partnership. We've just concluded a 2-day learning and evaluation meeting, which had 12 countries participating, the grand challenges, and I think that experience has been wonderful. There is so much of learning in each of the partnerships that we take on. The Wellcome Trust, which has been a wonderful partner, and that has helped us to take this activity where we have taken it forward in terms of the various partnerships in healthcare. We have from DBT a long-standing partnership with Wellcome Trust in which we do the Wellcome Trust Alliance fellowships, and I think that is what DBT is looking at, building capacities with partners. Our partnerships with all the, of course, the various line ministries within the government, but our partnership with all the academic institutes, our regional centers. Today we have 4 regional centers across the country. You heard about the 41 incubators, and I think you can see those on the map which has been put there, on which you see the clusters of the incubators. But the 4 regional centers which are working across. And I think this ecosystem has connected so well through our bilateral collaborations. If you talk about the bilateral collaborations that we have in DBT, now each one of them is looking at innovation being very key and central to that part of the collaboration. That's all because this group here has been able to showcase the strength of the startup, the innovation ecosystem, which is now bringing in partners as we move forward. It's also important for us to see how we take these various opportunities ahead. We are also very pleased to see that in this network that we have, we've been able to give a major emphasis on the young academic researchers, on the young entrepreneurs. In fact, we were very fortunate that when we got the approval of the government for setting up of Birac, I think the Department of Biotechnology was the first government ministry at that time to get an approval to be able to give an innovation ignition grant to an individual.
Thank you very much. I wish you hadn't mentioned that bit about me being a parasitologist. There's a joke that the former director of the Wellcome Trust used to use too much, which was parasitologists are the kind of people who wash their hands before going to the toilet. I should like to extend my huge appreciation to you, Ranu, Deputy Chairman, to my good friend Aslam, to my other good friend who's presumably in the audience somewhere, Shishendu Mukherjee, for this invitation. There's nothing like a birthday party, and this is going to be one hell of a birthday party. I don't often get flowers, not on my birthday. This is not a prop, this is a working tool. This bag was given to me by Ranu and colleagues at the first foundation day of Birac. I use it all the time. If the quality of this bag, which I guarantee I overfill on every flight I get, if this quality is anything like the quality of the projects which I gather are accumulating at the back of the room as products, then you're in for a treat. Now, I was asked to speak on the topic of the meeting, nurturing innovation. I am well aware that Birac has a mandate that includes agriculture, but I am going to err on speaking around healthcare, which is my background and more the background, I think, of the Wellcome Trust, where I used to work. So forgive me if I don't complete the full circuit of Birac in trying to illustrate here. And I'm going to talk about not so much the detail of activities Wellcome is engaged in, but some of the sort of take-home messages from what I have to say now is a personal perspective. If I say something Wellcome doesn't approve of, they no longer employ me. So I could find that I am speaking in my own mind, but not theirs. Now, the Wellcome Trust did take note of a very important statistic, and it's illustrated on this slide, which is that a good part of healthcare is private funded. And in this country, like many others, private healthcare constitutes the majority of the healthcare market. Not only is it in the order of 70 to 80% based on the statistics that you see here, but the costs of the private sector are significantly above that available to public sector. So the conclusions from this is the private sector really matters in terms of delivering health, making health more universally available. Affordability without compromising on quality really matters. And if you're thinking about propagation of health through the public sector, then financial prudency becomes even more special and important. So when I came to India in around 2007, I was very conscious that Wellcome had an engagement with India, which was very productive, but it was around basic research. There'd been a scheme to fund senior fellows for many years. And I was really delighted when our Board of Governors agreed 3 things. One was to augment that fellowship program in a partnership with the Department of Biotechnology, which has been a massively fruitful collaboration, even to this day. The second was to support public health through the Public Health Foundation India, which was a growing concern at that time. And the third was to make some available new funds for an initiative which we ended up calling Affordable Healthcare for India, R&D for Affordable Healthcare for India.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, my most sincere, heartiest congratulations to all the winners this afternoon. Please, I just request everybody to give them all once more a big hand. I think that's entirely deserving. Dr. Renu Saroop, Dr. Ted Baikan, Dr. Chris Karp, Dr. Aslam, distinguished guests, many friends in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a real privilege to be invited here for the 7th Foundation Day for Birac. When Dr. Saroop said that, I literally took less than a second to say yes, which I assure you I don't do for all invitations. It was really because one reason was that the first or the second paper in my academic career was on export of technology from India, along with my senior co-author called Sanjay Lal from the University of Oxford. And this was, I think, way back in 1979 or 80, and we are doing a World Bank project. And I bring this up only to say that it's been the quest for India to emerge as a scientific and innovative, innovative hub, power, whatever economy, has been there for a very long time. Because India traditionally has been an innovative country, innovative society. We've had, if you read about it, there have been thousands of years of innovation and scientific research in this country. So there's been a very long-standing quest. And the second reason, which is connected therefore to the first, is that I was sure that on this afternoon, on this evening, I will see that new India in the making. And so congratulations, Birac, for doing that. You have achieved in short 7 years a lot more than many of our labs and institutions have been able to do for several decades put together. I mean, this is incredible. 1,000 startups, 550 companies supported, 130 technologies, 179 IP registrations, 41 bioincubators. I could go on. So wonderful work done, and I'm sure you have a great future ahead. And thank you, Dr. Renu Saroop, for guiding this, and Dr. Aslam for being the leader of this wonderful team that you have here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you can feel it, but I often feel a new buzz in India today. A new buzz about people who are not going to do the same thing over and over again. A new buzz about people refusing to imitate others and models taken from abroad or taken from other countries and trying to do things on their own. And this buzz, I think, is in large measure due to our scientists, but in some measure, you would agree also due to the encouragement given to this by the political leadership. I think it was the Prime Minister's call in 2016, I think the Independence Day, where he talked about having a startup culture. Today we have 14,000 startups in the country, which are recognized by the Department of Industrial Policies and Promotions. And you have the beginnings of a new innovation ecosystem, which I'll describe to you a little later, under NITI, with the Atal Innovation Mission coming along, and institutes like Birac, of course, which predate that, but then nonetheless have been given a huge push as we go forward. We in the government have tried to encourage, promote startups, but also more importantly, we are trying to encourage startups to become stand-ups, because that's the whole idea. I think because the startups can't remain just as they are, and for that, the government has given them income tax concessions for 3 years, of any 7 years. The income tax rate is lower at 25% up to 50 crores of income. And there are also other incentives for setting up investment clusters, etc. But I submit to you, I put it to you, that startups will be converted to stand-ups much better, with greater ease, if we can try and find amongst ourselves a more seamless, a closer interface between these startups, incubation centers, government bodies, and the private corporate sector. I think that relationship is still to be created in the manner in which we would need it to be created. There are still two sort of different systems.
To Dr. Bianco. to Dr. Swaroop, to Dr. Chris Karp, may I now request Dr. Shirshendu Mukherjee, Mission Director, PMU Birac, to come on the stage and deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Birac, and also to give the token of appreciation from Birac to Dr. Aslam.
If we can get the slides up. So, Shirshendu, Secretary Swarup, colleagues, it's a delight to be here and celebrate Birac's Foundation Day. It's great to celebrate the birthday of a terrific partner. And it's a real honor to give this talk, so thank you very much. And thanks especially for making it on the evening of a jet lag day. So if I fall down, just please throw me back up. So the title, I hope, is long enough. Putting it perhaps boiling it down, it's what? It's ignite, innovate, incubate for impact. Or in the parlance of the motto for today's Foundation Day meeting, it's nurturing innovation for empowerment. And the reason I say that is I'm going to start actually by giving a little bit of a demystification overview of the Gates Foundation, the work we do, and then move to specific, I think, fun scientific innovations that we've been working on. And fundamentally, the foundation pursues an equity agenda. The bulk of the foundation funding is in the global arena, and it is specifically an equity agenda, focusing on the problems of the poorest of the poor. And to address that agenda, we really stand back and ask two fundamental questions. What are the areas of greatest need, and where can we have greatest impact? And through a series of what I think of filters, this comes down to the fact that we fund based on a set of strategies in the global space. And things come on strategy through what I think of as four filters. The first, and the most important, is that the conditions cause an outsized burden of morbidity and mortality in the poorest of the poor, those earning less than $1.90 a day. So it's disability adjusted life year index that we generally use, and that's based on the best possible data. And the foundation has actually put huge resources into getting much better ground truth on those data. And if we have time at the end, I'll tell you a bit about that. The second filter is that those problems aren't receiving appropriate attention from other groups, not enough resources going in. Third is, frankly, an abiding belief in the transformative power of science and technology. And this gets to the where can we have the greatest impact. The ability of the foundation aiming at that, aiming for transformative tools, and having the patience to work at really high risk and on long timelines that government funding is difficult for and pharma won't touch. And frankly, the fourth is it's a family foundation. Sometimes things rise to the top otherwise. And so this has come down to, this probably is not visible from out there, a set of strategies. And they're listed on the left, and on the right are the most high-line goals of those strategies. So for polio and malaria, it's eradication. We hope we're close to the asymptote with polio. With malaria, we're hoping to eradicate malaria by 2045. With HIV and TB, it's reduction of transmission. With the syndromic diseases in those under the age of 5, pneumonia, sepsis, enteric and diarrheal diseases, it's reduction of burden. For the next group, the neglected tropical diseases, classic London Declaration group, it's quite pathogen specific. The foundation aims at eradication of guinea worm for the filarial diseases, which was Ted's old stomping grounds. Ted Bianco, it's elimination as a public health problem. For most of them, it's reduction of burden. The next three are critically important: maternal neonatal child health and nutrition, and family planning. And here, the overall goal is maximizing maternal neonatal health and developmental potential. And finally, water sanitation and hygiene, enabling universal access to sustainable sanitation services, agriculture, reducing poverty for farming families by increasing productivity, And finally, financial services for the poor, building sustainable futures through digitally based financial tools and services. So there are teams at the foundation around each of these strategies that are in some sense responsible for everything from the most upstream research through delivery downstream. And I guess I want to make 3 specific points here. One is I started out by saying that the foundation pursues an equity agenda. And that's true when you think in terms of DALI burdens, the desire to have the biggest impact.